Okay, so now we were doing budgetary deficit, right? So what is budgetary deficit? You know this term. Deficit is always a problem, not a good term. Deficit is, for example, your budget was this, but you spent it this. So then this is deficit. Okay, so budget deficit is defined as the excess. When your expenditure is more, whatever amount you have, whatever revenue you are getting in your expenditure is more, that is known as budget deficit. Okay, so budget deficit is defined as the excess of total estimated expenditure over the revenue. Okay, three types of budget deficit we are going to study: revenue, fiscal, and primary. Revenue, what is revenue? Whenever the formula is, whenever there is the difference between total expenditure and total revenue receipt is known as revenue deficit. Okay, fiscal deficit, difference between total expenditure and total receipt is known as fiscal deficit, excluding borrowing. And primary, difference between fiscal and the interest payment. Clear? In our previous class, we did the revenue deficit. So these were the implications. The first implication, what I told you, for each of them, we'll be doing three things. First, definition. Second, implication. And third, suggestive measure. So we were done with revenue deficit, like the implications. We were done with definition and the suggestive measure. Today we'll start fiscal deficit. But before that, I'll give you a recap. Okay. So coming to definition, it was the difference between total expenditure and total revenue receipt is known as revenue deficit. Okay. Now, implication. The first implication was that revenue deficit indicates the inability of the government. That government is useless. Government is unable to, meet the expenditure. And the government is unable to, do the daily functioning. Whatever the role of government is, government cannot do that. Why? Because government don't have money, right? Okay, so inability of the government. Second, it implies this saving. Now government already overspended their money. So what government will be doing? Government will be taking the money out of the savings. So that means saving, the opposite of saving is dissaving. So government will be dissaving the thing. So second implication is dissaving. Third, now there are two things. Government is already in problem. So what government can do? Government can either take money from someone or government has to sell something, right? So what government will be doing? If government do borrowing, then the liability will be increased. But in case government sells something, then the assets will be decreased. Okay. Third bit, if the situation carry on, like the capital receipt, if you are using your capital receipt day by day, then the problem of inflation will be there. Now government is in problem. So what government will be doing? Government will be increasing the prices of all the products. So if you are using your capital receipt in more and more way, then the problem of inflation or the situation of inflation can come, because of course government need money, right? So government will be creating the situation of inflation. Third, if you are borrowing so much, that what will happen? After 5 years, government will be like left out, or government will leave the place. But the upcoming future generation, they have to bear the burden of this everything, right? So higher borrowing would increase the burden, future burden to repay the loan. Okay, and the interest. Of course, loan they have to pay plus the interest. So this is a problematic situation. Okay. Now government is already in problem. So of course I will suggest some measure to government that okay, this is how you can but the problem is that 100 rupees. So I'll suggest a measure. So first measure what I will suggest is measure to reduce public expenditure. Okay, so whatever money government is giving to public, or whatever money government is using for public welfare, I'll just ask the government to reduce it. Right, earlier I was very rich. I was giving you 100 rupees, 100 rupees, 100 rupees, everything. For example, this pen is for 500 rupees, but I'm saying I'm just giving you this pen for 100 rupees only. So when you give any product, whatever the MRP is, out of that, like maybe some discount or something, that is known as subsidies. So government always provides products to poor people in the form of subsidies. For example, poor people want to buy fertilizers. The actual cost is 100 rupees, but government will be giving them this for 50 rupees. Okay, so what I will be telling the government, that you have to reduce your wasteful expenditure. Okay, you are giving subsidies, that's fine, but instead of 50 rupees, just give the subsidies of, like, keep the product for 80 rupees, so that only 20 rupees will be spent from your end, right? This is what I can suggest government. Second, I'll be suggesting the government not to spend more on non-plan expenditure, because plan thing is very much important, like the education, the health structure, the infrastructure. But you have to very you should not spend more money on non-planned expenditure. Okay. Next, first thing is that I told government not to overuse things or not to overexpend. So there were two you can say mode through which government can reduce their public expenditure. But now, second, I'll suggest government to reduce the income. Right? If you don't have money right now, what I'll ask you to join a job. I'll ask you to do two jobs. I'll ask you to do overtime. Right? So similarly, if you want to increase your revenue, first government has to increase the tax. For example, earlier for this bottle the tax was 10 rupees, but I'll ask government to increase the tax and keep it 20 rupees. Okay. Second, I'll ask the government to take money from the public sector, like the private sector. So that government will be asking, earlier they were paying 10% tax, but I'll ask, as a government, I'll ask them to pay 20% tax. So of course, money will be coming to me, like from where? The private sector. Okay. And next, tax invasion should be controlled. Tax invasion should be controlled means invasion is if I'm not paying tax, then I'm a defaulter. Okay. So earlier 10 people were not paying tax. So I was okay. Okay, it's okay, they'll be paying. But now, right now, I am in need of money. So I will not let anyone not to pay tax. So tax evasion should be controlled. I'll be controlling the tax evasion. Clear?
Yes, clear.
Sanya and Mahdi?
Clear, ma'am.
Mahdi, getting it?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
You have, yeah, you have to make the project over this, so you have to be more attentive. Okay.
Yeah, I'm checking on it.
Okay. Now, second deficit is fiscal deficit. Again, three parts we'll be doing. First, definition. Second, implication, and third, the suggestive ratio. Okay. So fiscal deficit is basically what you will be writing. You will be writing the difference between total expenditure and total receipt, excluding borrowing, is known as fiscal deficit. Okay. And this is the formula. This is the you can say deep formula. Total expenditure is basically revenue expenditure plus capital expenditure, that is total expenditure, and total receipt is revenue receipt plus capital receipt is total receipt. Okay. So you just write the definition, that fiscal deficit is difference between, just write fiscal deficit first, then write define fiscal difference between total expenditure and total receipt, excluding borrowing, during a given fiscal year, is known as fiscal deficit. Okay. And after that, write this formula as well, because this is the expended formula. Sometimes an exam, like in your question paper, total expenditure won't be given. They'll be writing revenue expenditure differently and they'll be giving you capital expenditure differently. So then you have to find out that if you'll add these two, then it will be equal to total expenditure. If you will add these two, then it will be equal to total receipt. Okay. So first, write definition. The difference between total expenditure and total receipt, excluding borrowing, during the given fiscal year is known as fiscal deficit. Okay. I'm repeating. Difference between total expenditure and total receipt, excluding borrowing, during the given fiscal year is known as fiscal deficit. Done, students?
Yes, ma'am. Done.
Okay, so I hope you have written this. Fiscal deficit definition. Fiscal deficit definition. To the difference between total expenditure and total receipts, excluding borrowing during the given fiscal year, is known as fiscal deficit. Okay, and then this fiscal definition, new formula. New formula. It's not nothing. It is basically the expended form. Like in case you don't get total expenditure directly, they'll be giving you revenue expenditure differently and capital expenditure differently, and you have to sum up it. Okay. Okay. So now basically we are going to do the implications of fiscal deficit. Okay. Definition we are done. Implication, then suggested ratio. Okay. So implications, debt trap. So first is debt trap. Now, what is debt trap? So basically, for example, this debt trap is very, like you can say, one of the highest, you can say scoring one and most expected question. Okay. For example, this is a person. Okay. He took 100 rupees from someone else. Okay. And what happened? He promised that person that after 1 month, I'll just give you back the money. So after 1 month, he was unable to give the money back, but the person was asking for the money. So what he did now, he took 100 rupees from some other person and he gave this 100 rupees to this person. Okay. Again, he promised this person that I'll give you next month. Okay, but again what happened? He was unable to pay the loan again. So again, what he is doing basically, he is taking money from someone and giving it to someone. And then again taking money from someone. Basically now he is in a trap. He cannot come out of the debt trap. He is like badly, you can say, trapped in this trap, which is known as debt. Debt is basically when you take some money from someone, you are under debt. You are a debtor, right? So basically, this is a trap that I took money very first chance. That was okay. I promise that I'll be giving you back the money. But secondly, just to repay your loan, I took money from someone else. And just to give back his money, I took money from someone else. And again, just to give his money, I took money from someone else. So this is a trap. Okay, I cannot come out of that. This is a trap. I'm getting it inside. So this is the problem of a debt trap. Clear? Getting it? Okay. So the first implication is debt trap. Fiscal deficit refers to total borrowing requirement of the government. Borrowed. You don't have to write this. Okay, you will be writing borrowing creates problem of repayment of loan. Repayment is you took loan, now you have to pay back, right? So borrowing creates problem of repayment of loan and also of regular interest payment. Loan you have to pay, that's fine, but plus the interest. Okay, so your loan will be increasing day by day. For example, you took 100 rupees loan, but interest will be added on, so it will be like maybe 150 or 200. Okay. So borrowing creates problem of repayment of loan and also of regular interest payment. Okay. So interest payments increase the revenue expenditure, which leads to revenue deficit. Now, interest payment increase the revenue expenditure. You have to spend more. It's not about only 100 rupees plus the interest. So you have to spend more, which leads to revenue deficit. Okay. The government restored to further borrowing to repay the earlier loans. The country is caught in debt trap. Okay. Okay, just yeah, you have to write it. This is important. I cannot skip it. Okay. So now again, how you will remember it? Debt trap. Debt trap. Whenever you are getting the term debt trap, you are going to study borrowing. Okay, I borrowed. That's why I'm in this problem, right? So borrowing creates problem of repayment and repayment of loans and also of regular interest payment. Regularly, you have to pay interest. And interest payment increase your expenditure. Of course, you have to pay interest, so your expenditure is increasing, which leads to revenue deficit. Because of that interest, your revenue deficit is occurring, right? Why? Because, for example, I have 100 rupees. I am paying you, but the interest part, from where I'll bring that? That is the add-on, right? So because of that interest, whatever you are, that interest is, your revenue expenditure is increasing, and because of that, revenue deficit is happening. Okay. The government resort to further borrowing to repay their earlier loan. Now, what government is doing? Government resort. Resort means is liable on, or government is depending on further borrowing just to pay the previous one. the government resort to further borrowing to repay the earlier loan. Just be very careful. What is written? Government has to borrow money. Why? Just to pay the earlier loan. Whatever loan I took, or whichever loan I took in early days, just to pay that loan, I have to go for further borrowing. Okay, and the country is caught in debt trap. Now the country is being caught in a debt trap. Now you cannot for again, you will be taking, just to pay the previous one you are taking loan again, then just to pay that loan you have to pay further, then further, like this, and the country is caught in a debt trap. Clear? First point.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just quickly write this first implication, debt trap, and then I'll introduce you to the second. In question, like in exam hall, you can get why fiscal deficit creates the problem of debt trap. Then you have to write this, the whole story. Okay, Halima and Mahdi getting?
Yes.
Done, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, done.
Okay. Madhi? Madhi, done? Maybe network issues. Okay. So now, second thing, foreign dependence. Okay. First problem was debt trap. Like if you like a fiscal deficit takes place, then the problem of debt trap will be there. Okay. Second, foreign dependence. Okay. Foreign dependence. Now, what is happening? I am someone, my country is facing issue because this is all about government. Okay. Now, what I will be doing, I will be taking the money, I'll be asking some other people like the other countries to help me out. So that is foreign dependence. And you know what happened? For example, I have given you money. So I'll be someone who will be, doing like that. Okay, I have given this person money. Now he is my slave. Not slave, maybe I'll be, somewhere I'll try to overpower you. Okay, because I have given you the money. You are under me right now. Okay. So foreign dependence. Second problem is foreign dependence. Government also borrows money from rest of the world. Rest of the world means apart from India, they are taking money from other institution or something, rest of the world, which associate with economic interference by the lending countries. Now, for example, I have given you money. So somewhere I'll be asking you, how much money you are spending there. I'll be trying to interfere in your economic affairs. How you are doing, what you are doing. I'll be asking you lots of questions. Please, will you pay my money on time? Don't waste your money. I'll be suggesting you lots of things because I have given you money, right? So similarly, government also borrows from rest of the world, which associate with economic interference by the lending country. Lending country is the country who is giving us money, right? We are lenders, but lending country is the one who is giving us money. Okay. So now, if I took money from that person or that country, now they will be trying to interfere. They'll try to interfere in our economy, and it causes economic slavery. Economic slavery is I have to follow. For example, they have given you money and they'll be asking you, don't do this, don't do that, don't that, do that, like that. So I'll be somewhere doing economic slavery if the lending country dictates in terms of borrowing country. Okay. See, it's not same for everyone. Right. There are few countries who don't behave like this, but there are few countries, there are high chances that the country who is giving you money, they will dictate. They'll try to overpower you. Overpower the lending country will try to overpower the borrowing country, and because of that foreign dependence increase. So the foreign dependence is always a negative portion. Okay. Just give mark. So sorry. Okay, so what I was telling you, foreign dependence. Okay, so basically what is happening, government also borrows money from rest of the world. Okay, which is associated. Now, if you are taking money, so of course they will be interfering in your economic. Whatever you are doing related to economic, related to the money, they will be interfering, and by the lending countries. It causes economic slavery. What is happening? Economic slavery is there. Like whatever they will be saying, you have to follow it, right? And if the lending country dictates in terms of borrowing, it's not compulsory that they will be dictating you, but in case if they dictate you, that will lead to the economic slavery. Slavery is basically I am someone's slave, I have to follow whatever the person will be saying. Clear? For independence part.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, so you can quickly write this point and then we'll move to next.
done.
Okay. Sana done? Halima? Hadi?
Yes, ma'am.
I hope students are getting it. It's not getting boring. Getting it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, next one is cause of inflation. Okay. Inflation, you already know. Inflation means the prices are high. Like government will be doing that. Okay. So what happened? The government resort the borrowing from Reserve Bank of India to meet its fiscal deficit. See, first there are three chances from where government will be doing. Government will be taking money. First, they'll be asking RBI. You know what is RBI? The head. And second, they'll be taking it from people, like putting on tax and all that. And third, they will be going to the rest of the world. So what happened? The government resort is basically dependent on to borrowing from the Reserve Bank of India to meet its fiscal deficit. It is done by deficit financing. This increases the circulation of money in an economy and creates inflationary pressure if there is an excess supply of money. So now government will be doing? This is a story basically. Government will be going to the RBI that I want money and I want all that thing. So government will be giving, the RBI will be giving the money, right? So now lots of money will be there, right? People have lots of money right now. So what that will happen? There will be lots of demand. Because of that, what government will be doing? Government will be increasing the price, right? So the problem of inflation also takes place because when you get extra money, then lots of people demand lot. And now I cannot give each and everyone the same amount, right? Cannot give that. So at that moment, what I will do? I will increase the price. For example, this is a chocolate. Okay, this is chocolate, and right now the price is 10 and 10. So five people came over here that, ma'am, I want chocolate, I want chocolate, I want chocolate, right? Because RBI gave the money. Right, RBI gave the money, so you have lots of money right now. So all of you came to me that, ma'am, I want chocolate, I want chocolate. Okay, but I had only two chocolate, right? So what I will be doing, basically, I will be increasing the price. Now the chocolates are for 50 rupees. So out of these three people say, no, we don't want it because the prices are really high, right? So when RBI gives money to this bank, basically there is flow of money in the economy, so lots of people demand, and just to stop their demand, I will be increasing the price. So that's why the problem of inflation takes place. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? You, for example, you don't have money. You went to your mom, then, ma'am, I want 500 rupees. She gave you. Now what you will be doing? You will be going to market. I want this, I want that. Okay. But I cannot give you each and every product, right? Because I have limited resource. So I will be increasing the price of the product. Then you will be like, oh my God, this is so expensive. Let's just leave it. Right? So your demand. So what I am doing, just because you got money, the problem of inflation is come, right? Because of you are getting money, not everyone is getting money, right? These three people didn't get money, only these two people got money. So they said, okay, we won't be purchasing. So because of you, because of your that problem, because of your deficit, problem of inflation takes place. Okay, so cause inflation. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Halima? Mahdi?
Yes, clear.
Is not here. Okay. Next, financial bundle for future generation. You know that if you will borrow today, the person who is going to come, or the government, which government is going to come, they have to pay, right? So borrowing leads to burden for future generation as repayment and flows and interest on loans get accumulated. Whose burden is be borne by future generation in form of more tax and non-tax saving. Okay, this is very simple, that borrowing leads to burden for the future generation as repayment of loan. They have to pay loans plus the interest. So that gets accumulate. Interest is getting add on. You left, but I'm the future generation. I have to pay, right? So financial burden for future generation. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So you can write these 2 points. Cause deflation and then the cause inflation and then the financial burden.
Mom, done.
Okay, I'll just wait for one more minute.
Done.
Then, okay, done both. Okay. So now we are already done with the implication. Now the suggestive measure. So basically, prime revenue and the fiscal deficit are somewhere the same, and the problem is same, right? Of course, you can even check. Inflation there was thing. The foreign dependence like borrowing was there. There was a thing, right? Financial burden was also there was a thing. So similarly, they are somewhere same. So of course, when it comes for measures like the suggestive measure, they are also same. So first, what like you are in a problem of fiscal deficit, you are in problem, so I'll suggest you two things. First, in your decrease your public expenditure. Second, increase your revenue. How you're going to decrease your public expenditure? You have to stop wasting your money on subsidies and all that, and you have to stop spending your money on non-planned expenditure. Now it comes how you will increase your revenue. First, impose higher tax. Okay, impose new tax. Second, effort should be made that you should impose more tax on the public sector so that you can get more income from the public sector like the private sector. And next, tax evasion, like the first people who were not paying tax, who were defaulters, you have to see that you have to control that. Earlier if it is 10, now you have to make sure that only it should be 0. Like everyone should make sure. So tax evasion should be controlled. Okay. So just write it. It measures to reduce fiscal deficit. Why I am asking you to write it again? Because when you will be reading, now you are not going to turn your pages back. You have that notes on and there. So that's why just write it down. Okay. Clear?
Yes, mom.
Yeah.
Just write it.
Done, ma'am.
Done.
Okay. So I'm just giving you 1 minute. Just quickly revise the fiscal deficit. Okay, read each and every line and let me know if you have any problem in fiscal deficit. Done, guys?
Yes.
Okay, any query? No?
No, ma'am.
So basically we are done with two deficits. Tomorrow, like day after tomorrow, we'll be doing the primary deficit. And then after that, a numerical portion, and then I'll take the test. Okay?
Yeah.
Clear?
ma'am.
Okay,
Yes.
this chapter is, a hectic one, or then we'll start with the theory portion, like the second one. Okay?
Okay.
So till then, you can revise everything. See, revision is very important because you have 1 day gap, right? After tomorrow, there will be no class. So just take out 5 to 10 minutes just to revise it. Okay, just focus on two terms, liability, the words which, like which you feel like, oh my God, what they are. Just I'm not asking you to learn anything. I'm just asking you to just give it a reading. Because whenever you will be given a reading, that will be something helping you whenever you are going to learn it for the test. That will help you. Okay.